Morning, guys. So, welcome to our first week of post spring break. We're not coming back for sure. Online learning. um, Today, we're going to talk about inference. It's a word that I've been using a lot this year, and it kind of means an educated guess. But we're looking at it specifically about how we um, use inference to understand characterization. We talked about characterization in our last lesson here. Um, So inference is just, like I said, an educated guess. It's conclusion reached on the basis of evidence and reasoning. Sometimes it's more entertaining to figure things out than to be told directly, right? That's that indirect characterization versus the direct characterization. If you take a look at a little chart here, here's what we got. There's clues in the book about something. Then you add to that your own thinking, your own experiences, and the answer you come up with to that question is inference. When we make inferences about characters, again, it's an intelligent guess based on evidence. To infer means that we make an inference, so we make that educated guess. I have a practice sheet that I usually have you guys do, but I think I'm just going to go through it with you here as we move on. Think about this as we go through it, though. This is a little exercise in inference. I call it prove your hunch. Every day after work, Paul took off his muddy boots on the steps of the front porch. Alice would have a fit if the boots made it so far as the welcome mat. He then took off his dusty overalls and threw them into a plastic garbage bag. Alice left a new garbage bag tied to the porch railing for him every morning. On his way into the house, he dropped the garbage bag off at the washing machine and went straight up the stairs to the shower as he was instructed. He would eat dinner with her after he was presentable, as Alice often said. All right, so knowing that, ask yourself this question. What type of job does Paul do? Does he work in an office? Does he work at a more hands-on profession? What kind of job does Paul do? It doesn't say anywhere in there what he does for a job, but make a guess. I'll give you a second here. All right, next. Describe Alice. What's Alice like? Alice was only in here a little bit, but you can use those details to find out what she's like. Okay. What's the relationship between Paul and Alice? How do they know each other? How are they related in any way? Moving on. All right. So what usually happens on that little activity we just did is that people say a range of different things. Paul, we know, probably has some kind of job where he gets dirty, right? He might work at a dump. He might work. Um, he might work as a construction worker where he gets all muddy. But also, when I think about like our situation right now, maybe he's a healthcare worker and he's taking off his clothes there when he comes in his boots because he doesn't want to bring any kind of disease in there. There's lots of things that could be based on depending on your experiences. You'll come up with a different answer. Similarly, when I ask you about Alice, there's nothing about Alice in that little bit. If we go back and look, it says about Alice that she would have a fit, that he was instructed to do certain things. That might mean that Alice is a little bit controlling, right? We don't know. Is Alice his mom? Is Alice his girlfriend, his wife? We don't really have that information. And based on your life and what you've seen, you probably came up with an answer to that question. Maybe Paul and Alice are dating. Maybe Alice is Paul's mom and he's living there. We don't know anything. Maybe they're just roommates. Based on the cool thing about this activity is that based on your life and what your experiences are, you probably came with a little bit different answer than everybody else. When we do this in class, everybody raises their hand and we kind of go around and it's kind of cool to see what different people think. So that's inference. Moving on a little bit farther here. Um, Character inferences. So character inferences are informed guesses about what a character is like based on, again, evidence and your own knowledge. What can we infer about this mom based on her thought? She said it had seemed like such a good idea 12 months ago. She's got this little baby, but that little meme that says it seemed like such a good idea 12 months ago probably tells us that the mom isn't the happiest with her new motherhood, right? Even though she looks happy in the picture. Another scenario to imagine here. So we're making inferences, remember? So think about this. You're taking a science test. You notice your friend Andre has a puzzled expression on his face. He looks at the test paper, scratches his head, and then stares out the window. He picks up his pencil, but then he puts it down again. He taps his fingers on the desk. He looks out the window again. He picks up his pencil and starts to write as if he didn't just do that. He erases that. He erases what he's written, and he turns to look out the window again. Based on this, what can you infer about Andre and this test? Again, it doesn't really tell you anything specifically, but we can make the inference that from my life experiences, I know people who don't know the answers might look confused if they don't know the answer. They might look around the room. They might fidget. They might attempt to answer them and then give up. So because I know that people, when they don't know the answer, might do that, I make that guess. Andre didn't study for the test, right? I can tell Andre didn't study because of all these things he's doing. That's an inference. The author doesn't tell me anywhere that he didn't study for the test, but I know that because of my own experience. And that really draws you in as a reader to your book a little bit more when you're bringing your own life experience into it. One more time. Remember our definition of inference. It's a conclusion reached on the basis of evidence and reasoning. And you're combining the evidence from the book with your own life experience of what you know. And this is especially about things like personality and feelings, motivations. Remember, motivation is why somebody does what they do. And it can help you understand some of the unspoken or unwritten facts about characters. So today and every day, as you read your book, look for clues about your character's personality and record the evidence on the chart. This chart, let me see if I can find it for you here. This is your homework for today. And it looks like this. It's a little bit confusing at first, but here's what we have. So here you're going to put your character's name. Like, what character are you picking in here? Here you're going to put their appearance. Like, what does that character look like in your book? In this box right here, you're going to put other characters. How do other characters in the book react to this character? Okay, so again, your character's name and family, your character's appearance, what they look like, and then how other characters react to this character you're talking about in the book. Okay, this bottom part's, again, a little confusing, but here's what you're going to do. 2 specific things that the character has done or said. What's one thing they did? What's another thing they did? This could be either something they did or something they said to another character. After that, you're going to say, here's an experience in my life that's similar. When somebody did something or said something like this character in this book did, this is something from my life that's similar to that. Okay? Again, the same thing here. The second thing that your character did or said, something in your life that's similar to you've seen, even if you've seen it in a movie or seen it in your life, something similar to the character did or said. And then here, because I've seen this in my life, I know that the character is doing this, or this is the reason they did this. Okay, one more time. So you have your character doing an experience here, doing something, and then you have your thing from your life written here. So because you've seen this in your life and you know what this is about, when this character does kind of a similar thing, it means this, just like it did in real life. I know that's a little confusing. Feel free to email me if you have problems with that. I'm going to get that up in a couple minutes here on Schoology. So happy Monday, everybody. We do have Google Meets here in a couple minutes. Again, don't worry too much if you can't catch this one. I know it is short notice.